a son who mostly spends time alone. One day, he asks his father, "Dad, have you ever felt like the more you think deeply, the more isolated you become? Like, the more you understand, the less people want to listen, and it's not because you're wrong, but because you see and understand what others don't." The father was stunned, but he realized his son wasn't just quiet. He was gifted with a mind that wandered where others feared to look. So the father replied, "Schopenhauer once said, the more intelligent a man is, the more he tends to be alone. It's not just in your head. Society has always feared deep thinkers because their presence exposes ignorance, and not everyone is ready to face that reality. So instead of being admired, they are often mocked as crazy, dismissed as arrogant, labeled overthinkers, because truth challenges the ego, and the majority will do anything to protect their comfort, even silence the truth. History proves it. From Socrates to Nietzsche, from Galileo to Tesla, the most brilliant minds were ridiculed, silenced, or ignored. But why does intelligence provoke such hate? Because intelligence is the only form of power that can't be controlled. You can regulate wealth, manage strength, even manipulate beauty, but you can't control what a truly intelligent person might think, and that's why it stirs envy and jealousy. The truth is, the deeper you think, the lonelier it gets. The more you understand, the less people want to listen. The more someone seeks truth, the more they become disconnected from the majority. Not because you're strange, but because you're awake. In a world that prefers sleep, when your mind starts seeing beyond the surface, you stop chasing trends and start seeking truth. You stop trying to fit in and begin to embrace solitude, because deep thinkers crave meaningful conversations, while most people prefer shallow talk, and that makes you different. Different in a way most people won't understand. But why does this happen? Why does society resist those who think differently? Because highly intelligent people operate differently. Instead of blindly following instincts, they develop the will to truth, a desire to understand reality even if it leads to discomfort. While regular people seek pleasure, shallow talk, and avoid difficult truths, this creates a fundamental disconnect between intellectuals and the rest of society, making it difficult for them to engage in everyday interactions without feeling bored or disconnected. Arthur Schopenhauer, one of the most brutally honest philosophers, wrote in The Wisdom of Life, "A high degree of intellect tends to make a man unsocial. For the more a man has in himself, the less he will want from other people. The less, indeed, other people can be to him." Schopenhauer's writings suggest that a high degree of intellect can lead to a preference for solitude. He believed that individuals with profound intellect possess a rich inner world, reducing their dependence on external social interactions, as they find greater fulfillment in their inner contemplations than in social interactions that don't resonate with the depth of their thoughts. Which is why intelligent people often feel misunderstood, alienated, or even resented. Those who know little often overestimate their intelligence, believe they know more than they do, leading them to dismiss others. Meanwhile, highly intelligent people tend to doubt themselves. The truth is, society isn't built to embrace deep thinkers. It's built to maintain stability. From schools to workplaces, from families to culture, they reward obedience over independent thought. The moment you start asking deeper questions or thinking differently, you become a problem, because society fears what intelligence reveals, especially when it challenges the norm. That's why many of the greatest minds in history were silenced and ridiculed during their lifetimes. Their ideas were seen as disruptive, not valuable, but because they were ahead of their time. Their minds operated on a level society hadn't reached yet, and for that, they suffered for their wisdom. Consider these examples. Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, spent his life questioning commonly held beliefs. He challenged people to think critically and examine their ideas. But he was put on trial, accused of corrupting youth and disrespecting the gods. His real crime? Encouraging people to think for themselves. Galileo's only crime was discovering the truth. When he proved that the earth orbited the sun, he shattered centuries of religious doctrine. The church branded him a heretic and forced him to deny his own work, under the threat of torture. Today, we call him a genius, but in his own time, he died in silence, his work buried for nearly a century. Society claims to value intelligence and critical thinking, but only celebrates them when they are safe or widely accepted. It chooses comfort over truth. That's why shallow conversations, simple ideas, and repetitive content dominate social spaces. If history proves that society resists deep thinkers, what can you do if you're one of them? Does this mean deep thinkers are doomed to loneliness? Not at all. It just means you need to understand how to navigate society wisely. Schopenhauer didn't just diagnose the problem, he offered solutions. He believed that while intelligence leads to loneliness, there are ways for deep thinkers to cope with their isolation. Embrace solitude. Schopenhauer saw solitude not as a punishment, but as a privilege. He believed deep thinkers should use their alone time for intellectual and creative pursuits. While intelligence may lead to loneliness, it also grants freedom, peace, and a deeper understanding of life. Instead of trying to fit into mainstream society, seek out those who think like you through books, philosophy, or exclusive intellectual circles. Engage with the world wisely. He warned against sharing deep insights with those who weren't ready for them. Not every place or person is ready for meaningful conversations. Save your most profound thoughts for the ones who truly appreciate them. You don't need millions of people to understand you, just the right ones. Surround yourself with people more intelligent than you are, because they challenge your thinking, sharpen your mind, and turn every conversation into a lesson. Play dumb. Displaying too much intellect can provoke envy, resentment, or hostility. Playing dumb becomes a strategy, a way to gather information, avoid conflict, and protect your peace, because most people don't listen to understand, they listen to argue. And in those moments, proving your point can feel like an attack. That's when pretending to know less becomes the smartest move. There's this quote which say, "A man of intellect should not display his superiority in every encounter. It is wiser to let others think of themselves as your equal. In doing so, the intelligent gain more than approval. They gain peace, power, and the freedom to think without interference. So the next time you feel the urge to prove something, ask yourself, is it worth your peace?" The father placed a hand on his son's shoulder and said, "My son, there's a kind of peace that only comes when you stop trying to be understood. People will call you crazy. You will feel alone, and you will be misunderstood. But that's not your burden to carry, because how others judge you doesn't define your reality. It's your job to understand yourself. Your solitude isn't emptiness. It's the space to grow into who you're meant to become. And remember this, you don't owe your mind to anyone. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not every conversation is meant to be deep, and not every silence needs to be filled. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. So never shrink yourself to be accepted. Keep thinking, keep asking, keep being you. While society may ignore deep thinkers, it is deep thinkers who push humanity. So if you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. You're among the few intelligent, and that's something to be proud of. If this video resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to explore more insights from history's greatest minds, hit that subscribe button